Yeah.
Hello, Alfred. Would you like to tell me a little bit about how you came to live in Scotland? What were the circumstances that brought you to this country?
I was in the Navy when the war started in the Mediterranean, and because it was very quiet in the first year of the war and the U-boats were playing hell with our convoys in the western approaches, this is off Greenock, they brought us home to back up the forces on western approaches in coping with the menace of the U-boats against our convoys. And from then onwards, I met a young lady who I eventually married, and eventually I left the Navy and settled down in Scotland. And in fact, I've been in Scotland, classed as Scotland as my home since 1939, when I first came here in the James Watt Dock. I entered the James Watt Dock the Christmas of '39. That's over 60 years ago. And from then onwards, I used to do correspondence courses. And from correspondence courses, when I left work and retired, I went to night school. I've done lapidary, I've done woodwork, I've done flower arranging, I've done black and white photography, I've done digital photography, I've done learning Italian, and I just do it to get out of the house. And my wife's been dead many years, and it gives me something to do. And also, I'm in good company, and I enjoy myself. And I hope everybody else enjoys my company too. Thank you. No?
Right, could you tell me a little bit about how you've been here in Port Glasgow for over 60 years, as you say. How does life compare in the Port Glasgow today compared to your life back in the Port Glasgow all those years ago? What are the differences, the main differences to the way of life?
Well, when I first came to the port, it was known as a dirty old port. Some of you might know, some of you might not know. But since then, there's been improvements in housing and general overall conditions, and I think everybody's benefited from the improvements that have occurred in the port and the modernisation that's occurred in the port. So I think it's good for everybody.
I see. And what career did you yourself pursue after the war?
I was in, when I left the Navy, I was at 14 years in the Navy. When I left the Navy, having turbine experience, I went into power stations, and I served in power stations for 30 years until I was retired. And after I was retired, I got a bit fed up with myself in the first couple of weeks. I took a job driving old people in King Street. So I drove a bus in King Street for driving old people around the town to dances, to clubs. I took them for runs to Helensburgh, up in the hills for 14 years. And I enjoyed it. And even then, I used to go to night school in the evenings. I enjoy doing things, and that's me. You can't sit back and let years catch up on you. You've got to go with them and chuck them out behind you.
And do you find that you have, well, you mentioned the activities that you do now to pass your time, your languages and computing skills. Do the resource centres in this area, do they offer you yourself plenty in the way of activities, new things to learn?
Oh yes, definitely. I recommend it for anybody. I mean, people I've met, I've asked them to come and join the club. It's good company. I think everybody here will say it's good for them. It's good for everybody else. I enjoy it, and you shouldn't let life pass you by. You should go with it.
And on that note, thank you very much for your time, Alfred.
Cut.
Well, get one for a quarter price then, let's go in here.
Oh, hold on. Hey, Bobby. Are you doing for your half price then?
One.
Camera one rolling.
Two.
One's always the main camera.
Right.
I don't just now, we'll just talk about it just now.
Okay.
Make sure we're right.
Put it up.
Is it?
Camera one
Right.
rolling.
Hello, Richard.
Hiya.
You all
No,
know.
No.
Don't start again, we'll try
Don't
it
start,
again.
don't start yet.
Waiting, David said.
Camera one rolling.
Well, match
Are the cameras down?
Camera one set. Alright,
The camera three.
roll camera three.
All the cameras rolling?
That's speed.